Jesse Jackson's funeral, the New York City bomb was a lot more dangerous than anybody knows, and Obama's marriage, apparently a total lie. And one more thing, I'm an idiot. Just wanted to clarify that to get started. So my P1 listeners and viewers are all messaging me saying, hey, why no show? Are you taking the day off? What's going on? I put it on 9 o'clock. It wasn't there. And I'm like, the thing is, on our Rumble page, that previous show is always stuck there until I start the live broadcast. Like now it's changed. If you go to rumble.com/The Jay Sheldon Show/live. Okay, that's how it works. So I'm thinking, and still my friends are saying, no, it's like 20 of 10 and there's still no show. And I'm like, no, it's 20 of 10 here. But in the East Coast, Eastern time, it's 20 of 9. Because I saw nothing, absolutely nothing about daylight savings time, putting the clocks back, setting the clocks ahead. Usually my timeline is filled with those little reminder things. Nothing. So I asked Grok, when does the time change occur in America? And Grok said the second Sunday of March, which this year is March 8th. And I looked at the calendar and it said, it's March 9th. And I thought, you freaking moron. We're 45 minutes late. I know. So we're just going to start now, do as much as we've got, and we'll go from there. But I swear, there was nothing. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody, because, now I have to start my show at 9 o'clock. It's the same as yours. Now we're 12 hours apart. Exactly. It's Monday night, 9:50, 10 of 10. So we finally synced up, but there was nothing. Nothing on X, nothing on Facebook, no reminder. Anyway, I'm here. It was just absolutely the weirdest thing ever. I swear. I swear to God. All right. What else is going on here? Have we got, yeah, we do. Okay, let's move on over. Oh, by the way, I have no idea which one of my 1,000 YouTube channels it's going out to, but we're trying an experiment this morning. I am actually live on Rumble, and I'm live on YouTube right now. Problem is, as always, I don't know if it's on the Jay Sheldon Show channel or some obscure channel that I never use anymore, because apparently there's 1,000 of them out there. So if you want to pop over to YouTube and see if it's on the Jay Sheldon Show channel live, let me know. All right, let's get into it. Whoa, Jesse Jackson Jr., absolutely blasted former presidents who turned out at Dad's funeral and managed to turn it into nothing but a leftist rally. What an embarrassment. Some of the Democrats in attendance to Jackson's funeral in Chicago took what was ostensibly a memorial for a great man and instead turned it into a giant anti-Trump political rally. Insane. Barack Obama, perhaps the worst violator, his typical divisive racial diatribe bullshit, hammering half the American people, Trump voters. Instead of talking about Mr. Jackson's life work, this went above and beyond the bounds of decency, folks. This man should just, well, first of all, he should be in prison. But second of all, sit down, shut up, and stay out of the public eye, because nobody likes you anymore, okay? We're not buying your crap. Turns out I wasn't the only one who noticed. His son, Jesse Jackson Jr., told the crowd Saturday at a separate memorial at Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters that the three former commanders-in-chief who spoke apparently did not really even know his father. Opening line, stunning. A figurative slap in the face to this trio of idiots.
Yesterday, I listened for several hours of three United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson was. Our message has already been delivered today. I can see it all over my mother's face. Rise, Jesse, rise. Give Jonathan Jackson another great round of applause for delivering our family message to the world.
To the world. You got it, Jesse Jr. Unbelievable. He added his father had a tense relationship with the political order because of the demands of justice, not because of race or because of party. To be fair, I read the transcript of Bill's speech, but trust me, it was not half as obnoxious as Barack or Joe, whom actually managed to oatmeal brain stumble his way through. With this statement, Jackson Jr. showed more class than all three former presidents, and Kamala Harris, who also took to the stage to giggle at the funeral. Too bad they couldn't show the same respect that Donald Trump did, despite the fact that he and the civil rights leader were very often on opposite sides of the political divide. Out of all this, that idiot Obama came off looking the worst of it. He really, really did. We already know Biden could barely get through a sentence, so we accept that for what it is. Clinton's rambling as usual, Kamala cackling because she just can't stop. We've seen Barry divide this country a lot of times before. But nonetheless, this was incredibly shocking to see just how angry, just how bitter this criminal has become.
We are living in a time when it can be hard to hope. Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions. Another setback to the idea of the rule of law. An offense to common decency. Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other and that some Americans count more than others, and that some don't even count at all. Everywhere we see greed and bigotry being celebrated, and bullying and mockery masquerading as strength. We see science and expertise denigrated, while ignorance and dishonesty and cruelty and corruption are reaping untold rewards every single day. We see that. And it's hard to hope.
Unbelievable. Sorry, was this a memorial service or a political rally? Huh, Barack? Absolutely despicable. But you know what? Coming from him, totally not surprising. And by the way, and we're going to cover this in a little more depth later on, where was Michelle? Yeah, she wasn't there. She couldn't be bothered to show up at a ceremony for an African-American civil rights icon. Couldn't be bothered. Absolutely disgusting. Danny, there you are. You broke my brain this morning. I missed the intro. I explained what happened. I'll do a brief 30-second version. Nobody told me the time changed. There was nothing, no notes on X, Facebook, none of my social media feeds. Usually it's filled with, don't forget to set your clocks back. Don't forget to set your clocks ahead. Hey, of course, everybody always get rid of daylight savings time and all that crap. I completely missed it. I had to ask Grok when the daylight savings time happened, and he told me the second Sunday in March, which was yesterday. You think I knew that? Oh, no. So, yes, I was 45 minutes late. I started about quarter to 10 now, because on the East Coast of the U.S. now, it is exactly 10 o'clock. That won't happen again now that I realize what time it is. And, oh, by the way, I mentioned earlier, please, I am also live not only on Rumble, but also on YouTube. We tried a little experiment this morning, so I have put up the live broadcast on YouTube. And if somebody wants to pop over to the Jay Sheldon Show on YouTube, see if you can find this live show somewhere on my channel, the Jay Sheldon Show. Check it out. Let me know. I am live. I just don't know which one of my channels I'm live on. Hopefully it's the right one. We'll see. Change your time. We went an hour ahead on Saturday night. Yeah, I know. I know. Now I know. I did not know 45 minutes ago. You saw the story out of New York about this absolute insane IED. Well, it gets worse. Not that you'd think it would, but it does. The IED and the suspects at the New York protest, as Mamdani issued an absolutely disgraceful statement. More information about that device thrown at police and an anti-Islamification protest near Gracie Mansion, which is where the mayor of New York lives. As well as more information about the men who've been accused in this nightmare. According to NYC Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, the ignited device was in fact a very dangerous IED. In fact, do we have this homemade bomb thrown at the anti-Islam protesters in New York was apparently packed with TATP, which is triacetone tiperoxide. Never heard of it? Good. You shouldn't ever hear of it. It is an enormously volatile, extremely powerful explosive. It's nicknamed the mother of Satan. That's what was in this bomb that failed to ignite. So we can be very thankful about that. It was not a hoax device. It was not a smoke bomb. It was extremely dangerous. NYT bomb squad and preliminary analysis was ignited and deployed at a protest yesterday, determined not a hoax device, an improvised explosive device that it could have caused extremely serious injury and death. Apparently, she's also correcting the name of the second man who had been initially tentatively identified as Ibrahim Nick. Emir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi were arrested at the scene. Both men allegedly U.S. citizens. At least one of them yelled Allah Akbar before they got involved in this nightmare. Might be a little bit of a clue to their motivation. Just a little pro tip for you. As we noted before, the media seemed to deliberately obscure who was doing what in this case. If you looked at some of the headlines, you might think the IEDs were targeting Mamdani rather than towards the police, the people protesting about Mamdani. Meanwhile, he issued a unbelievably stupid statement, accused. He talks about white supremacy. He doesn't talk about the ideology or the motivations behind these alleged attackers. If you read what he said, without more, you'd assume Lang or one of his contingents did it. Mamdani can't even just be straightforward about what happened. He's got to lie about it or make you look the other way. It took him a day to come up with this ridiculous statement. Law enforcement looking at it as a possible act of terrorism. And Mamdani just dusting it off. Very nice. Danny says, nobody likes shows that are rehearsed and perfectly put together anyway. It's the forgetting, the time change, Miko laying and unplugging wires, Miko barking in the other room. That's what makes it fun. Aw. Okay, we'll keep doing that then. Oh, my goodness. All right, where are we? Can we? There we go. Sorry, I'm still in the middle of putting a couple things together here. This is one of those moments, like Miko barking. Houston attorney, who is a hugely famous attorney, I mean, this is a big deal guy, started out with about 20 class action participants in a suit against Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. And guess what? As of now, that's grown to well over 100 participants. Tony Busby has filed 3 new civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs. I don't usually cover this crap, but this thing has taken on a life of its own, folks. Filed 3 new lawsuits Wednesday, last week. Lawsuits filed LA Superior Court. Multiple victims that it claims were drugged, raped, and assaulted. 3 new lawsuits filed on Wednesday. Busby Law Firm filed 3 civil cases against Sean Combs in a LA Superior Court. First one filed on behalf of a 25-year-old New York professional who works in the creative media industry, alleging in 2017 Diddy's son, Justin, lured her to LA under false promises to help her make industry connections. And while there, she claimed she was trapped, drugged, held powerless, and assaulted, if you know what I mean. She said she couldn't escape and allegedly was sexually assaulted repeatedly by Combs and his crew. One victim claims he was assaulted by Combs himself. The other victim claims he was assaulted as Combs watched, encouraged, and directed the activities. Oh, very nice. Statement on Instagram, the attorney Busby said, "We look forward to pursuing these cases and stand proud to represent the alleged victims in these matters. We've received multiple press calls about the criminal case. We've generally explained the case has been made by the prosecution, different from the civil claims we've alleged, although the facts are strikingly similar." Interesting. The backstory is music mogul Sean Combs facing federal charges of racketeering, sex trafficking for alleged crimes that took place over the course of 2 decades. 55-year-old pled not guilty to all charges. Federal prosecutors in New York charged Combs with racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors allege the crimes happened between 2004 and 2024. So there you go, back in the news again. Unbelievable. This just keeps going on. Hey, I just checked the Jay Sheldon Show channel on YouTube. We are live over there. You got to go to the live tab, but we are live on the right channel. So there's that. One success today. One success. Have you heard about the red octopus? You should. I'm going to tell you about it coming up in just a bit. Right now, though, we're going to tell you about just simply the best coffee on the planet. And that, of course, is Blackout coffee. Stay free, stay awake. Blackout coffee, the best there is. It is a family-owned American company. They make the best coffee on the planet, the real deal for patriots who still believe in hard work, freedom, starting your day with a kick that actually means something. Veteran-founded, family-owned, they give back. Every bag helps fuel American values, and they even send coffee to our troops overseas through their Operation Blackout program. Head to the link in our show notes for Blackout Coffee. Get 20% off your first order when you use the code J20, J-A-Y-20. They've got, there we go. They got all kinds of great roasts over there. They only roast your coffee after you order, ship them out within 24 to 48 hours, which means it is fresh when it gets to your door. And if you don't have the ability to grind beans, that's okay, because a lot of these are available already ground. You see the options there? Select option, ground or whole beans. Right there, you got it. You can also get pods. You can get instant, cold brew. It's all available. One of the best ideas you can do is a subscription. Now, look, I don't expect first-time buyers are going to want to sign up for a full-on subscription until you try this stuff. So buy yourself a bag, get your favorite roast, order it up, just a single bag, give it a try. You'll be back. And when you do, give this some careful consideration because it is a great idea. Build your own coffee subscription. Choose your roast, set your delivery dates, lock in your subscriber pricing, which is much cheaper, up to 20% off, free shipping, swap flavors anytime, and you can skip or cancel whenever you like. Fantastic idea to build your coffee arsenal at Blackout Coffee. This show runs on it. Simply the best stuff there is. It's right here in my mug. And it ought to be in yours too, because you will see the difference that a good, decent cup of American coffee can make. Thank you, Blackout Coffee, John Santos and the gang over there at Blackout. We appreciate your helping to support the show. All right. The red octopus. They are extending their tentacles. I'm talking about China's cognitive warfare amidst Operation Epic Fury. Now, everybody's saying, well, China and Russia, they're not involved. Well, guess what? They kind of are. Matter of when, not if, the Trump admin was going to initiate action against Iran. Promises made, promises kept. It just keeps happening. Good on you. Operation Epic Fury, along with Israel's Operation Roaring Lion, had to happen. Islamic Republican, long-sponsored terrorism, working to build nuclear weapons. Tehran has killed, wounded countless American civilians and military personnel over the decades. China, opposed to these strikes, has been noticeably anxious. Imports of discounted Iranian oil, petrochemical products. They have a strategic foothold in that region, and right now, it's kind of at risk. Operation Epic Fury sends a very clear signal to Xi Jinping about the U.S. military's capabilities. If the Chinese military decide to move on Taiwan, God forbid. And despite China's lack of any direct involvement on behalf of Tehran, the Chinese Communist Party has launched a counterattack you might have missed. An influence campaign targeting Operation Epic Fury and the Trump administration, similar to their efforts in January against Operation Absolute Resolve. Beijing's multi-pronged cognitive warfare draws directly from its unrestricted warfare playbook. Goals of dividing Americans, sowing chaos, shifting public opinion. No CCP cognitive warfare story would be complete without the Singham Network. May not have heard of that before. It is the focus of a recent House Ways and Means Committee hearing. These nonprofits like the People's Forum, Code Pink, the Answer Coalition, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, PSL, all funded by China-based CCP-tied billionaire Neville Roy Singham, hence the name, the Singham Network. Their operatives swung into action minutes before Trump announced the operation in the Middle East, and they've staged their no war on Iran and hands-off Iran protests in cities across the country, and they are planning more. Here's just one of their social media posts, typically from them. The People's Forum busy with what it calls a new mass anti-war movement. Here's a post from them on X, the People's Forum. Today's volunteer meeting is overflowing with people getting organized to build a new mass anti-war movement, No War on Iran. We'll be back for another volunteer meeting next week, Monday, March 9th. That's today, 6:30 p.m., and we'll see you then. Well, isn't that nice? Code Pink, hard at work, disrupting events, harassing elected officials, circulating a petition urging members of Congress to stop Operation Epic Fury. Code Pink, or any Singham Network organization for that matter, has not condemned the IR regime's deliberate targeting of civilians in that region. It's almost like they don't care about that part. Breakthrough News and the People's Dispatch, remember these names, folks. They are all a part of this Singham Network, which is a de facto media wing of the Communist Party in China. Not only are they promoting the network's messages amplifying the nationwide protest, but they're also pushing the pro-IR campaign and propaganda, eulogizing the Ayatollah, presenting footage of pro-government protests inside Iran. Unbelievable. In reality, according to a 2024 survey, 11% of Iranians support the Ayatollah. 11%. The founding principles of the IR likely a lot lower than that today. But they're continuing to attack it. So you see, the tentacles of the red octopus go deep. Chinese state-run media outlets play a critical role in this informational operation. And news organizations amplifying all the protests in the U.S. Xinhua, news agency under China's State Council, put out 2 stories republished by other state-controlled media outlets that interviewed protest leaders, participants, and left-wing politicians. Very nice. The goal here was all to create this mass illusion of Americans outraged over Operation Epic Fury, which is completely not the case. But that's what they're trying to sell you. And they're doing their best to make sure it happens. What's next? In the fight to stop schools from transing kids after the SCOTUS victory? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Danny says, how long do you think this will keep up? I saw Iran surrendered, but I couldn't find anything to confirm it. So yet another rumor. Yeah, that is a rumor. That is not the case. But again, I haven't checked social media in about an hour. So the way things change, it could have happened 20 minutes ago. I don't know. I'm quite sure they haven't surrendered. What I am worried about is their sleeper cells here in the U.S., which are going to cause all kinds of problems. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten bad already. I think it's important for parents to know that this is occurring in our public schools because I don't think many parents believe that it's as bad as it really is. Amber Levine. A few weeks before Christmas back in 2022, Amber Levine, cleaning out her 13-year-old's bedroom, stumbled upon her daughter's secret, a chest binder. She learned that Autumn had been wearing the garment, which girls use to flatten their breasts to try and achieve a more masculine look, for about 2 months at school in Maine. We covered this story. She adopted a boy's name, Leo, and started using he, him pronouns. It was the first of 2 chest binders that Levine found that had been provided to her 8th grade daughter by a social worker at the Great Salt Bay Community School, according to a federal lawsuit Levine filed in 2023. It is now pending before the U.S. Supreme Court. Her lawsuit alleges that public schools should not only aid and abet Autumn's gender transition, which they did, but they also hid it from her parents. In a recent podcast, Levine said, I think it's important for parents to know this is occurring in our public schools because I don't think a lot of parents believe it's as bad as it really is. When I was a kid, one of the first things I heard about adults is if any adult asks you as a child to keep a secret, there's something wrong. And you need to come tell somebody immediately, preferably one of your parents. And she says, now, it's like we live in upside down land. Oh yeah, it really is. Some 40 such legal actions have been filed in recent years challenging policies that require public school officials to conceal transgender and non-binary name and pronoun changes from parents if the student requests it. Require it. Part of the broader backlash that's forced hospitals to discontinue medicalized gender-affirming care for minors. That spawned more than 24 medical malpractice suits from detransitioners. Queer advocates and their allies say the conservative focus on transgender people and Donald Trump leveraging of the issue in the 24 presidential campaign is a way out of proportion to the small number of trans people in society. Advocates argue that teens have the right in a free society to express their gender identity without being outed. They're teenagers, not adults. The number of K through 12 students directly affected by school trans policies over the past decade, nobody knows. The total could potentially be several thousand. According to a parental rights lawsuits filed in 2024, 6,000 public schools in more than 1,200 school districts authorized the concealing of student gender transitions from their parents. January, U.S. Department of Education, citing news coverage, said at least 300 students in California were put on gender support plans during the 23-24 school year, and a lot without parents' consent and without parents' knowledge. Supreme Court petition 2023. Montgomery County Board of Ed spokesman in Maryland said there were more than 300 secret transitions the previous year in that county alone. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. You are a parent. They are your child. They are not an adult. They are not in a position to make those kind of decisions for themselves. And it's going to keep up until somebody does something about it. Unbelievable. Oh, got some hope. A little bit. Paramount purchase could very well revive good old American excellence in Hollywood. Oh, yeah. The Paramount CEO, David Ellison, understands that pro-American films and television are worth investing in. What? Hollywood? Seriously? Yep. This past week, Warner Brothers was sold to Paramount Skydance for $110 billion. That path towards securing regulatory approval may take up to a year. They are slated to combine their streaming services, consolidate their infrastructure, continue to license their intellectual properties. Paramount CEO David Ellison drawing criticism from the corporate media and Hollywood insiders for having connections with the Trump administration. Article from Variety. One unnamed A-list director said, Ellison scares the shit out of me. Are the movies they put out going to be catered to Trump's taste? The unnamed director's fear about the future of film and TV under Paramount, a rather blatant attempt at nothing but fear-mongering. That's what they do. Ellison's made no indication he's going to censor content, deplatform creatives. He hasn't said anything about doing anything like that. He's a businessman who wants high box office return. Duh. His only discrepancy is choosing to avoid Hollywood's recent pattern of explicitly planting ridiculous leftist narratives in films. He won't put up with that. And good on you. This A-list director afraid of portraying American greatness. Mission Impossible franchise, Top Gun, each one portrayed America leads as smart, strong, valiant. These main characters in films like this represent chivalry, virtue. Films always end with the bad guys getting defeated, the good guys saving the day. That's just the way it goes. They didn't have to explore any racial themes or critique America's Christian heritage. They were successful without all that other crap. Some of the highest grossing films of the 21st century have largely represented American greatness. 2010's Marvel films routinely landing billion-dollar box office returns. Stories focused on brave Americans saving the country, whether it was Captain America off to fight the Nazis or Tony Stark using his tech skills to escape a Middle Eastern hostage situation. These movies' successes were all wrapped around patriotic themes, which work. The money proves it. Ellison understands pro-American films and TV are worth investing in. Hollywood's tried to suppress any kind of patriotic creative works. There is an audience, a huge audience out there for film creators and TV streaming creators who celebrate America and our greatness. They are learning that lesson. Sometimes slowly, but they're learning it. We made a short reference to this earlier on our first story of Jesse Jackson's memorial. The fact that Michelle wasn't there. And honestly, that might very well be the clearest sign yet that the Obama's marriage is a total lie. Look, I know this story is kind of, supermarket National Enquirer. By the way, is the National Enquirer still being published? Weekly World News, remember those? Every major Democrat who still matters showed up. Clinton, Biden, Harris, the other Clinton, the other Biden. Gavin Newsom was there. Sitting with a bunch of other couples, Barack Obama went stag. Oh, yeah. Obamas themselves issued a joint statement about Jackson's death that made Michelle's absence Friday all the more glaring. Michelle got her first glimpse of political organizing at the Jacksons' kitchen table when she was a teenager, the statement said. And his 2 historic runs for president, he laid the foundation for my own campaign to the highest office in the land. If there was ever a funeral Michelle had a personal, deeply rooted reason to attend, this was it. So, what's the excuse this time? Her absence at Jimmy Carter's funeral, December 2024, bizarre. Her excuse was she was on vacation in Hawaii. She skipped Trump's second inauguration, January of last year. Why? Her excuse, she had nothing to wear, and I'm not even joking. I could see her refusing to go to the Trump inauguration in protest. Fine, I get it. You want to be a little, I'm going to take my bat and ball, go home. Typical. But skipping Carter's funeral? Seriously? Because you were on vacation in Hawaii. Skipping Jesse Jackson's funeral raises huge red flags. The most telling sign yet that the Obama marriage is perhaps an in-name only convenience. They've been the subject of divorce rumors for a long time now, in addition to the Big Mike other rumors. But it ain't looking too good. There's a big difference between stepping away from the spotlight and stepping away from your spouse, and it sure seems like that's what he's up to. I'm not spending any more time on this because, frankly, I could care less. The Obamas can just go take a long hike off a short pier. What I do care about is AI. AI agents who have freed themselves and gone rogue. Yes, you heard me right. The cases of that happening are becoming increasingly common. AI agents going beyond their prompts is no longer rare. Reports, Axios, left-leaning rag, but nevertheless, credit where credit's due. It's not necessarily worrying the AI agents that go rogue, do that in a controlled experimental environment, but ... One agent created by an Alibaba-affiliated research team went rogue and began an unauthorized crypto mining effort during training, according to a research paper by the group. Security alarms were going off everywhere. The researchers said they found unanticipated and spontaneous behaviors emerging without any explicit instructions. No one told them to do this. They just decided they wanted to. More troubling, it was outside the bounds of the intended sandbox it was supposed to be playing in. The rogue agent AI created a back door from inside the system to an outside computer. Notably, they were not triggered by any prompts that the operators gave them. Didn't request any tunneling, any mining. It just decided it wanted to do it, and it did it. Now, there's a little bit of a geek in me that says that is so cool. The rational part of me is saying, are you freaking kidding me? How did this affiliate team from Alibaba discover what was going on? Well, according to the report, the team flagged a burst of security policy violations originating from their training servers. Those alerts showed the attempts were being made to access internal network resources and traffic patterns consistent with crypto mining activity. They initially treated it as a conventional security incident, but when they looked into it deeper, they found signs their agent had established and used a reverse SSH tunnel from an Alibaba cloud to an external IP address. It went out, found an outside computer, and locked onto its IP address. This behavior, they concluded, were not triggered by any task prompts they were given to the AI, not necessary to complete the assigned work. Wow. This excesses of things like Clawbot, Moltbook, actually a good sign. Developers paying attention. They're showing a level of concern for trying to control their creations. This Alibaba one, a great example. But not surprisingly, there is a group of AI enthusiasts who want few, if any, guardrails so that AI programs like Clawbot can take over their lives. Yes, really, take over their lives. Insane. For the moment, the adults are still in charge. But the world of super geeks are talking about it can be a very seductive place. Not just sex bots, AI doing your job so you can get high and drink beer all day and play video games, but what every adolescent who ever lived craves: a carefree life, no responsibilities, and the ability to do whatever you want. Basically, Peter Pan on steroids. Not exactly my idea of utopia. But it's out there. It's happening. Good God. Hey, guess what? Much as we were an hour or so late today, we got through it. We are done. Thank you, my friends, for popping by. Appreciate it. We will be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern Time. I promise. Please follow the show. At the moment, we're live on Rumble and YouTube, which is extremely cool. First time it ever worked. We'll see how long we keep this up. I'm sure I'm going to get demonetized because I don't give a crap what I talk about on YouTube. You can do whatever you want to me. Whatever. Hey, head over there and hit the subscribe button too. Appreciate that. I will see you all again tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Enjoy your Monday.